The warm evening sun streamed through the kitchen window as Emily gently rested a hand on her growing belly. 7 months. In just a few weeks, she would finally hold her baby in her arms. A smile spread across her face. Life felt perfect. She had a loving husband, a beautiful home, and a child on the way. At least that's what she believed. Emily. Ryan's cheerful voice echoed through the house. He walked into the kitchen carrying a bouquet of roses. For the most beautiful mother in the world. Emily laughed. You spoil me too much. Ryan kissed her forehead and placed the flowers on the table. Not enough. From the doorway, another voice joined them. See, I told you he's the perfect husband. It was Sophie, Emily's best friend since childhood. The three of them often spent time together. To Emily, Sophie was like a sister, someone she trusted with her life. The three sat together for dinner, laughing and talking about baby names. Everything looked normal. Everything looked happy. But hidden beneath the smiles was a dangerous secret. Later that night, Emily woke up feeling thirsty. The house was silent. Ryan wasn't beside her. Thinking he might be downstairs, she slowly walked toward the kitchen. As she approached the living room, she heard voices. Ryan and Sophie. Emily smiled. They were probably discussing baby shower plans. But then she heard Ryan whisper, "Everything is almost ready." Emily stopped. Sophie's voice answered. Did the insurance company approve it? Insurance? Emily frowned. Ryan chuckled. $5 million. Sophie's eyes sparkled. That's more than enough for us. Emily froze. Her heart skipped a beat. Us? What did Sophie mean by us? Before she could hear more, her phone rang loudly upstairs. The voices stopped immediately. Emily hurried away before they could discover her. Back in her room, she tried convincing herself she had misunderstood. Ryan loved her. Sophie loved her, didn't they? The next morning, Ryan acted completely normal. He brought Emily breakfast in bed. He kissed her cheek. He asked how the baby was feeling. Everything seemed perfect. Yet something felt wrong. A tiny crack had appeared in Emily's perfect world. And once a crack appears, it only grows. That afternoon, Sophie visited again. Emily watched her carefully. For the first time, she noticed things she had ignored before. The way Sophie smiled at Ryan. The way Ryan looked back. The silent understanding between them. Suddenly, Emily felt cold. Very cold. Are you okay? Sophie asked. Emily forced a smile. Just tired. But inside, a terrible feeling was growing. A feeling she couldn't explain. A feeling that danger was getting closer. That night, after Emily fell asleep, Ryan quietly left the bedroom. He walked downstairs where Sophie was waiting. The two stood together in the darkness. What if she finds out? Sophie whispered. Ryan's expression hardened. She won't. And the baby? For a moment, silence filled the room. Then Ryan spoke words that would have shattered Emily's heart if she had heard them. It doesn't matter. Sophie smiled. Soon, very soon, $5 million would belong to them, and Emily would be nothing more than a memory. Emily couldn't sleep. The conversation she overheard kept repeating in her mind. $5 million. That's more than enough for us. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw Ryan and Sophie standing together. Laughing, smiling, keeping secrets. For the first time since her marriage, fear settled deep inside her heart. The next morning, Ryan acted as if nothing had happened. He made breakfast. He kissed Emily's forehead. He even brought flowers home after work. To anyone else, he looked like the perfect husband. But Emily had started paying attention. And once she started looking, the truth became impossible to ignore. 3 days later, Emily visited a clinic for a routine pregnancy checkup. While waiting, she noticed Ryan's briefcase lying open beside her. A document peeked out. Her name caught her eye. Curious, she pulled it out. Her blood ran cold. Life insurance policy. Beneficiary, Ryan Carter. Amount $5,000. Her hands trembled. She had never agreed to this. Ryan had never mentioned it. Why would he secretly insure her life? That evening, Emily quietly searched through Ryan's office. Inside a locked drawer, she found more documents. Bank statements, loan notices, debt collection letters. Ryan owed hundreds of thousands of dollars, much more than she had ever imagined. Suddenly, everything made sense. The insurance money, the secret conversations, the lies. 2 days later, Sophie invited Emily for coffee. How are you feeling? Sophie asked sweetly. Emily forced a smile. Good. But as Sophie spoke, Emily noticed something strange. A message appeared on Sophie's phone. For a split second, the screen lit up. Ryan. Sophie's face instantly changed as she hid the phone. Emily's stomach dropped. The truth was becoming clearer. That night, Ryan came home with exciting news. I booked us a weekend getaway. Emily looked up. A getaway? Ryan smiled. A mountain resort. Just the two of us before the baby arrives? Emily felt a chill. Something about his smile felt wrong. Very wrong. Later that night, Ryan called someone from the backyard. Emily quietly opened the window. Everything is ready, Ryan whispered. Sophie's voice came through the phone. Are you sure? Ryan laughed softly. When we come back, we'll be rich. A cold shiver ran down Emily's spine. For the first time, she realized something horrifying. Ryan wasn't planning a future with her. Ryan was planning a future without her. 2 days later, they arrived at the mountain resort. The views were beautiful. Towering cliffs overlooked the ocean below. Tourists took pictures. Couples walked hand in hand. Everything looked peaceful. But Emily couldn't shake the feeling that something terrible was about to happen. As the sun began to set, Ryan suggested a walk. Come on, he said. The view from the cliff is amazing. Emily stared at him. Then at the steep drop below, a terrible feeling filled her chest. And deep down, she knew. This trip wasn't a vacation. It was a trap. The ocean waves crashed against the rocks far below. Emily stood at the edge of the cliff, holding her belly as the cold wind blew through her hair. Something felt terribly wrong. Ryan stood beside her, unusually quiet. You okay? Emily asked. Ryan smiled. A strange smile. Not warm, not loving, cold, almost relieved. The view is beautiful, isn't it? Ryan asked. Emily nodded nervously. It's amazing. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The sun slowly disappeared beyond the horizon. Then Ryan took a step closer. So beautiful. Emily glanced at him. His eyes were empty. She had never seen him look at her that way before. Suddenly, she heard footsteps behind them. Emily turned around. Her heart nearly stopped. Sophie emerged from behind a group of trees, smiling, standing right beside Ryan, as if they belonged together. No, Emily whispered. Sophie laughed softly. Surprised to see me? Emily stared between them. Her world shattered. The affair, the insurance policy, the secret meetings, everything was true. Tears filled Emily's eyes. Why? She asked. I trusted you. Sophie crossed her arms. You were always in the way. Ryan stepped forward. We didn't have a choice. You had a choice, Emily shouted. You could have left me. Ryan shook his head. Not with $5 million waiting. Emily felt sick. The baby kicked inside her belly, almost as if it could sense her fear. Emily slowly backed away. Ryan, please. For the first time, genuine terror filled her voice. Think about our baby. Ryan's expression didn't change. The baby doesn't matter. Emily froze. Those words hurt more than anything. Not even his betrayal. Not even the affair. The fact that he didn't care about his own child. Emily tried to run. But Sophie grabbed her arm. Ryan moved in front of her. She was trapped. The cliff behind her. Her enemies in front of her. There was nowhere to go. I loved you, Emily cried. Ryan sighed. And that's why you're weak. Then he shoved her. Hard. Emily lost her balance. The world tilted. The ground disappeared beneath her feet. She fell. The wind screamed in her ears. The ocean rushed closer. Above her, Ryan and Sophie stood at the cliff's edge, watching. Neither of them tried to help. Neither of them looked sorry. As Emily fell, tears streamed down her face. Not for herself. For her baby. The child who would never be born. The child who never got a chance. I'm sorry, she whispered. The ocean rose toward her. Dark, cold, endless. Then, everything went black. Silence, darkness, nothing, until suddenly, a bright light appeared, and a mysterious voice echoed around her. You have suffered a cruel fate. Emily's eyes slowly opened. The voice continued. Will you accept a second chance? Emily's eyes flew open. She gasped for air and sat upright. Her heart pounded wildly. The sound of crashing waves was gone. The cliff was gone. Ryan was gone. Sophie was gone. Instead, She found herself sitting in a bright doctor's office. What? Emily touched her face. Her body wasn't injured. There was no pain. No pregnancy. No baby bump. Nothing. Miss Carter? A nurse looked at her strangely. Are you okay? Emily stared at the woman. She recognized her. The nurse from years ago. Before her marriage. Before everything. Emily slowly turned toward the wall. A calendar hung beside the door. The date made her blood freeze. 3 years earlier. No. Her voice trembled. It was impossible. She looked down at her hands. Younger, healthier, alive. The memories rushed back. The affair. The insurance policy. The cliff. The fall. The baby she had lost. Tears filled her eyes. She wanted to scream. She wanted to cry. Instead, she clenched her fists. No, not this time. Leaving the clinic, Emily immediately checked her phone. There were no messages from Ryan, because she hadn't met him yet. The realization struck her like lightning. Everything had reset. She had another chance, a chance to save herself, a chance to save her future child, a chance for revenge. That evening, Emily sat alone in her apartment. The small apartment felt different now. 3 years ago, she had considered herself unlucky. Now it felt like a gift, a second life, a second beginning. Suddenly her phone rang. Emily looked at the screen. Her heart skipped a beat. Sophie calling. Emily stared at the name. The same woman who had smiled while she died. Taking a deep breath, Emily answered. Emily, Sophie said cheerfully. Guess what? I met this amazing guy today. Emily froze. Amazing guy. Ryan. The man who would later destroy both their lives. In her previous life. This was the day Sophie introduced Ryan to her. The day everything began. Really? Emily asked calmly. What's his name? Ryan? Emily closed her eyes. The name felt like poison, but this time she was prepared. This time she knew exactly who he was, and exactly what he would become. That night, Emily opened her laptop. She began researching. Ryan Carter. Debt records. Business failures. Loans. Everything she could find. Hours passed. The more she learned, the more shocked she became. Ryan had been drowning in debt long before meeting her. In her previous life, she had been his solution. His ticket to easy money. By midnight, Emily had made a decision. She would not avoid Ryan. She would not hide. She would let him believe everything was happening exactly as before. Then she would destroy every plan he had. Piece by piece, lie by lie. Standing by her apartment window, Emily looked at the city lights. The fear was gone. The tears were gone. Ryan thought she was his victim. Sophie thought she was weak. Neither of them knew the truth. The woman they betrayed had returned, and this time, she remembered everything. 3 months passed. To Ryan and Sophie, everything seemed perfect. Emily smiled. Emily laughed. Emily acted exactly like the woman they remembered, the woman who trusted them completely. But behind every smile, she was watching. Waiting. Collecting evidence. Ryan finally entered her life again, just as he had in the previous timeline. They met at a charity event. The same place. The same conversation. Even the same joke. Ryan smiled confidently. Maybe fate wanted us to meet. Emily nearly laughed. If only he knew. Over the next few months, Ryan worked hard to win her trust. Flowers, dates, sweet messages, promises about the future. Everything felt familiar, because Emily had already lived through it once. Every lie, every manipulation, every fake promise. One evening, Ryan invited Emily to dinner. As he left the table to answer a call, Emily quietly activated the recording app on her phone. When Ryan returned, he didn't realize the microphone was still recording. Once I get the investment, all my problems disappear, Ryan muttered. Emily pretended not to hear. But she heard everything. Meanwhile, Sophie believed she was being clever. She secretly dated Ryan while pretending to be Emily's loyal friend. Neither of them realized Emily had hired a private investigator. Every meeting, every message, every secret date, the investigator documented everything. Photos, videos, receipts, evidence. Weeks later, the investigator handed Emily a thick file. Inside were dozens of photographs. Ryan and Sophie together, holding hands, kissing, meeting in secret. The exact same affair that had destroyed her first life. Emily calmly closed the folder. This time she felt no pain, only satisfaction. As months passed, Ryan's debts grew worse. Emily discovered he owed far more money than before. Loan sharks, credit cards, failed businesses. Ryan was desperate. Exactly as he had been in the future. Exactly as she expected. One night, Emily overheard Ryan speaking to Sophie. The investigator's hidden microphone captured everything. "We need her money," Ryan said. "What if she finds out?" Sophie asked. Ryan laughed. "She trusts us completely." Emily listened to the recording from her apartment. A cold smile appeared on her face. "No, Ryan, I don't." For the first time, Emily realized something important. She wasn't the victim anymore. Ryan and Sophie thought they were hunting her, but they were walking straight into her trap, and they didn't even know it. Emily placed all the evidence into a secure folder. Recordings, financial documents, witness statements, everything she would need. The case against them was growing stronger every day. Soon, the game would be over. Standing in front of her apartment window, Emily looked at the city lights below. In her previous life, she had fallen from a cliff, powerless, broken. But now, she held all the cards, and Ryan and Sophie were about to learn a painful lesson. Never underestimate someone who remembers the future. Ryan sat across from Emily in an expensive restaurant. A confident smile rested on his face. Everything was finally going according to plan, or so he believed. What Ryan didn't know was that every word he spoke was being recorded. Over the past year, Emily had carefully built her trap. Every photo, every recording, every secret meeting, and every lie had been documented. Now all she needed was a confession. "Emily," Ryan said softly, "I've been thinking about our future." Emily smiled. "The future?" Ryan nodded. "I want us to build a life together." Inside, Emily almost laughed. She remembered hearing those exact words in her previous life. The same lies, the same performance. Over dessert, Ryan brought up investments, business opportunities, joint accounts, and shared assets. The conversation slowly moved exactly where Emily wanted it. "You know," Emily said casually, "trust is important." Ryan smiled. "Of course. I'd trust you with everything." Ryan's eyes lit up. For a moment, his greed took over. And that was the mistake Emily had been waiting for. Later that evening, Ryan met Sophie in secret. Neither of them knew Emily's investigator was watching. Neither of them knew microphones were recording nearby. Ryan grinned. "She's completely under control." Sophie laughed. "Just like before." Ryan nodded. "Once we get access to her money, we're set for life." Then Sophie asked the question that changed everything. "What if she finds out?" Ryan smirked. "And then she'll disappear." The investigator's hidden camera captured every second. Every word, every expression, every threat. The next morning, Emily sat in her apartment reviewing the footage. For a long moment, she remained silent. Then she closed the laptop. It was enough. More than enough. The trap was complete. 3 days later, Emily invited Ryan and Sophie to a private dinner party. Neither of them suspected anything. Both arrived smiling, confident, arrogant, and certain of victory. Halfway through the evening, Emily stood up. "I have something special to show you." Ryan smiled. "A surprise?" Emily nodded. "Oh, yes. A very special surprise." The lights dimmed. A projector turned on. The first image appeared. Ryan and Sophie kissing. The room went silent. Sophie froze. Ryan's face turned pale. Then came the recordings. The affair, the discussions about money, the threats, the insurance scheme, the plan to use Emily. One by one, every secret was exposed. "No," Sophie whispered. Ryan jumped to his feet. "Turn it off." Emily smiled calmly. For the first time, fear appeared in Ryan's eyes, the same fear Emily had felt on the cliff. The doors suddenly opened. Police officers entered the room. Behind them came investigators carrying files and evidence. Ryan stared in disbelief. "What is this?" Emily answered quietly. "Justice." Ryan lunged toward her, but officers restrained him immediately. Sophie broke down crying. The perfect couple of liars had finally run out of lies. Ryan lunged toward her, but officers restrained him immediately. Sophie broke down crying. The perfect couple of liars had finally run out of lies. As they were led away, Ryan looked back. Hatred filled his eyes. "You planned this." Emily nodded. "Yes." Ryan clenched his fists. "How?" Emily smiled. A mysterious smile, one he would never understand. "Because this time, I'm the one who saw it coming." The police escorted Ryan and Sophie out of the room. Their empire of lies had collapsed. Their future was gone, and for the first time in 2 lives, Emily felt free. 6 months later, the trial was over. Ryan had been convicted of fraud, conspiracy, and multiple financial crimes. His business empire had collapsed. Everything he had worked for was gone. Sophie didn't escape either. The evidence of the affair and her involvement in Ryan's schemes destroyed her reputation. Friends abandoned her. Her family turned away from her. The future she dreamed of with Ryan had vanished. For the first time in years, Emily felt peace. Real peace. Not the fragile happiness she once believed she had. The kind that came from knowing she was finally free. One bright morning, Emily stood in front of the mirror. She barely recognized the woman staring back. Gone was the frightened woman who had trusted blindly. Gone was the victim who had fallen from the cliff. In her place stood someone stronger, someone wiser, someone who had survived death itself. Emily's company had become a success. The business she started after her, Rebirth, was growing faster than she ever imagined. Investors wanted to work with her. Magazines featured her story. People admired her determination. But success wasn't what made her happiest. It was freedom. A few months later, Emily met someone unexpected. Daniel Harper, a kind architect with an easy smile and honest eyes. Unlike Ryan, Daniel never made grand promises. He simply kept his word, day after day, little by little. Trust slowly returned to Emily's heart. 1 year later, Emily stood on a familiar cliff overlooking the ocean, the same cliff where her first life had ended. The waves crashed below just as they had before. The wind brushed against her face. But this time everything was different. She wasn't standing there alone. Daniel stood beside her, holding her hand. "Are you okay?" Daniel asked softly. Emily smiled. "I am now." For a moment, she stared at the endless horizon, thinking about the baby she had lost, thinking about the life that had been stolen from her, thinking about the woman she used to be. Then she closed her eyes and let it all go. The betrayal, the pain, the fear, the anger, all of it gone. When Emily opened her eyes again, she felt lighter, as if a weight she had carried for 2 lifetimes had finally disappeared. Daniel squeezed her hand. "What are you thinking about?" Emily smiled. "The future." The sun slowly began to set. Golden light painted the ocean below. For the first time, Emily wasn't looking backward. She wasn't thinking about revenge. She wasn't thinking about Ryan or Sophie. She was thinking about tomorrow. A single tear rolled down her cheek, because she had been given a second chance. Emily looked toward the sky and whispered, "You buried me once." The wind carried her words away. A gentle smile appeared on her lips. But phoenixes rise from the ashes. She turned away from the cliff, toward the life waiting for her, toward love, toward hope, toward a future she chose for herself. And without looking back, Emily walked forward. The end.